Velites, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Africa is changing the dynamics. We can't continue to be doing the same thing and expect something different. We know what is causing us not to move forward because of the way we decided to be doing things with the outside world by exporting our raw materials in their raw form. We don't add value to the resources that we have. African Union is saying that this is enough. According to the chairperson, they have to see how best they can have equal trade with the European countries or the rest of the world. Like, we don't have to have this tariffs barrier between us. There should be balance in whatever we are doing. The European Union is also saying that we trade more with them than any other person, for example, China, and they have always been fair with us. They make sure that they don't cheat us. And they'll continue to do their best in order to have Africa close to them than any other place. And Africa, we know the reason to which we are not moving forward. We can't say we have equal treatment with other people and they are thinking of making things better and they are praising themselves for doing things better for us when we know that ever since we started trading with these people, we have never gone far. The trade is not fair enough.
Our continent is making progress to be a key player in the different stages of the global value chain. Our role as raw material supplier only will come to an end soon. Therefore, we are calling for a more balanced trade partnerships. I'm pleading for European investments in the transformation process of our minerals on the continent. I'm calling for the lifting of any tariff or non-tariff barrier hampering the access of African products to the European market. I'm finally calling for a stronger and more viable multilateralism based on equality, respect for all nations, and advancing the common vital global interest. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may this Luanda summit enables us to achieve our shared vision for peace, progress, and prosperity for our peoples across the two continents. We can make this journey together for the sake of uplifting our shared humanity over selfishness and narrow-minded protectionism. I thank you.
President Lorenzo, President Costa, Chairperson Yusuf, fellow leaders, presidents, prime ministers, ladies and gentlemen. The last time we met in this format was mid-February 2022, just after a global pandemic and just before the war returned to Europe and before global politics became much more competitive and transactional. Since then, our world has changed profoundly. Global trade is more politicized than ever. Tariffs and trade barriers are being wielded aggressively. Export controls have become a tool to damage competitors and extract concessions. Global overcapacity in certain strategic fields has reached an all-time high. This is harming industries on both our continents, with consequences felt deep inside our societies. In this new reality, Africa and Europe are called to answer the very same questions. How can we create good jobs for our people? How can we deliver on the aspiration of our youth? How can we de-risk and diversify our economies? How can we break free from unsustainable dependencies while ensuring access to capital, resources, and technologies we need? Excellencies, fellow leaders, I believe that many of the answers lie in our partnership. In a more confrontational global economy, Africa and Europe need each other more than ever before. And this is what brings us here to Luanda. Today we can look back on the progress achieved since our last summit, but more importantly, we will look forward to new opportunities to work together. As old friends, but also as trading partners, investment partners, business partners, we want Africa and Europe to be partners of choice. Excellencies, fellow leaders, in a world of trade conflicts, a closer partnership between us begins with trade itself. Europe is already your first trading partner by far. 1/3 of Africa's total trade is with Europe. And Africa exports to Europe more than twice as much as to China, for example. Most of our trade has been duty-free and quota-free already for decades, thanks to our free trade deals and preference schemes, but I see room to expand our trade relationship even further. Right across the continent, we are building new infrastructure together to connect Africa and Europe. From ports to pipelines, the list is long. But take the Lobito Corridor. You all know this ambitious project to bring critical minerals from Zambia and DRC to global markets. But it is much more than that. As we launched the corridor, we also started working with farmers right here in Angola. European companies provided training. They helped local companies align with European standards and expand their export capacity. And this week we can celebrate that the very first shipment of Angolan avocados will leave Lobito bound to Europe. This is how we can make global trade a driver of local growth. And while we connect Africa to global markets, we are also supporting trade within your continent. I think this is the best way for African companies to scale up and prepare for global competition. With this summit, we are announcing more support to the African Continental Free Trade Area. The message is clear. Even and especially in these times of global tensions, we believe in the power of trade because it delivers for our people and it delivers for our economies. Excellencies, fellow leaders, together with trade comes investment. And this is the second point I would like to address. At our summit 3 years ago, I presented our new Global Gateway Agenda, and you just referred to it. And in these 3 years, you have all seen what Global Gateway stands for. It is more than an investment and infrastructure development program. It invests in local jobs and local value chains. And this is what makes it unique in the global investment landscape. Other investors might follow a different playbook by building factories, whether in Africa or in Europe, but staff them with foreign workers. They drill, they mine, and they take the profits away. They often leave a legacy of unsustainable debts. This is not Europe's model. When we invest in the local processing of raw materials in Namibia or Zambia, when we build pharmaceutical industries from Senegal to Rwanda, when we bring data cables to the Maghreb and East Africa, these investments are truly in our mutual interest. They enable to move higher up the global value chain. They create new jobs for African youth, new skills for researchers, new businesses opportunities for African companies. And while doing so, we also create new markets for European companies and strengthen our European supply chain. So a true win-win situation. When we launched Global Gateway, we aim to invest 150 billion in Africa by 2027. So far, we have already mobilized more than 120 billion euro So we are well on track to meet our target. And at a time when major investors are rethinking their global engagement, Europe is very clear. Our commitment to Africa is here to stay. And this leads me to my third and final point, about one sector where it is particularly urgent to scale up investment. The global clean transition is now in full swing. Last year, over 90% of new energy capacity installed worldwide was renewable. Solar and wind have replaced coal as the leading source of electricity worldwide. But out of $2 trillion invested in clean energy globally in 2024, only 2% came to Africa, the continent with 60% of the world's best solar potential. This cannot be. It leaves 600 million people without electricity and 4 in 5 families without clean cooking options. Every person should have access to clean energy. Every continent should enjoy cheap energy. And this is why, together with President Ramaphosa, we launched a campaign. We called it Scaling Up Renewables in Africa. And at the G20 summit earlier this week, we reached 15.5 billion euros in global pledges. This is great news, and I want to thank the many leaders in this room that contributed. With the contributions made by governments and the private sector, we will bring electricity to millions of people across the continent. And this is also why we have pledged at the International Energy Agency's Clean Cooking Summit to deliver as Team Europe more than 400 million towards clean cooking projects in Africa. Because a just transition must be for all, and it must be made in Africa. Excellencies, fellow leaders, our partnership was born 25 years ago at the dawn of a new century. Back then, leaders from Africa and Europe agreed on a fundamental truth. Our continents have different histories, but we share the same destiny. What our predecessors called destiny has become reality today. Our prosperity is more connected than ever. We both need to build the industries of tomorrow. We both need to make the most of our talent and resources and get rid of dangerous dependencies. The case for Africa and Europe to join forces is overwhelming. So let us find new ways in doing so. Let us walk this path together. Thank you very much, and I wish us a very successful summit.
We've seen that our voices are not even heard when it comes to decisions that concern the African. And with this, it's only the African that can cause this change. If we are calling for these people to stop putting tariffs on our goods and services, we should know what we have to do in order to prevent that. If these people are giving us sanctions, why are they giving us sanctions? Most of the things that they normally say is as a result of the African refusing to do what they want. And we have to fight to claim the narrative. What is here belongs to the African, and we also have the right to choose whoever we decide to trade with. We look at what is happening in the global world, and then we decide who is a best partner, business partner for the African. If we continue to be singing the same old stories, expecting things to be done to please these people, Africa will always be backwards. It is not the time for us to be thinking about the interests of other people, because when they come into the continent, they come here with their interests. They don't care what affects you, but they make sure that the rules and regulations do not affect them. It's high time we stop begging for what is rightful ours. Because like one time the French president was saying that Niger do not have the right to sell uranium to Russia. And simple because if it happens, like they will lose control in the Sahel because they have had upper hand on them for a very long time. These are the things that we expect African Union to be fighting against, because Africans have the right to decide who we want to do business with. The resources are ours, and we have to always decide where we think we sell. That will give us the profit that we are looking for, and not to always try to please other people. Like one time, one of the Namibian parliamentarian or politician said that whenever other people come into the continent to do business with us, they don't think about what the African will make, but what they will make. They always think about their interest. But when we are doing something, we look at what will please other people and not what will please the African. And these are the things that we need to do away with as Africans. If truly we are looking for a way to move forward, we have to start doing things that will please us and not the other people. The resources are ours. And if we are selling it to A and the price A is giving is not the best, we need to stop doing business with A. And if B is okay, we have to go. Like one time, the Chinese lawyer, Victor, told us that we have to use our, you understand, to decide on things. If we think that A is doing the right thing, we need to move with A, and not to always allow people to decide what they think is best for the African. And this is the soup that Africa is in, and that is the reason to which for all these decades, Africa hasn't been going anywhere, because other people always think of what they think is right for us and not what we think is right and best for our interests. So we have to balance that and stop begging. It's like any opportunity that we get, we beg people to consider us. But things are not supposed to be done this way. If we are trading more with these people for all these decades and we are not seeing a change, then we need to move away to other people. We have been trading more with them. Like one of the EU members said, according to her, they have made us to be trading more with them than among ourselves as Africans. And we have to think about what the African need to do to strengthen him or herself. We have to fight for the continent before we now be looking at how to deal with the global stage. Until we do that and we continue to be doing what we are doing, it's not going to change, because we don't expect these people to put their interests and what will benefit them aside to be looking at what will benefit Africa. Whatever they say is what we have been hearing for all these years, and Africa is always backwards. Enough of that. Like Niger, look at the uranium that Niger is selling. When they were there, it was 0.80. Now they are selling it for 200 per a kilo, and things are changing. These are the drastic measures we expect Africa to put forward. And if they are giving us tariff because of one or two things that they think doesn't go down well with them, we also need to stop importing or selling certain things to them. You know, we have to start doing the balanced trading business like Mali and then the United States of America. You see how things change quickly. But if we continue to be begging for what is rightful ours, then I don't think that Africa will have a way to go and there will be anything good for us. We shouldn't expect them to put their interests aside and be fighting for the interests of Africa. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in Africa.